Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rock and Roll Spot Commander with my retro review of Halloween H20, 20 years later. First and foremost, let's go into the noteworthy cast. Of course, we've got Jamie Lee Curtis reprising her role of Laurie Strode from Halloween 1 and 2, though the character tends to be referred to for most of you as Carrie Tate, for reasons we'll get into during the plot exposition. Josh Hartnett as John Tate, her son. In fact, apparently his first cinematic role. Adam Arkin as Will Brennan. He's guidance counselor at the rather posh boarding school that Laurie has become headmistress of. LL Cool J as Ronnie, the security guard at said boarding school. Michelle Williams as Molly, a student at the boarding school and John's girlfriend. Adam Han Bird as Charlie, another student and John's best friend. Jodie Lynn O'Keefe as Sarah, yet another student and Charlie's girlfriend. Janet Leigh as Norma, yes, that's actually Jamie Lee Curtis's mother, one of the original horror movie Scream Queen, playing Laurie's receptionist. Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Jimmy. It's a very small role. Not his first, but I can't remember where if he started with Third Rock from the Sun or what, but I know this was after, or at least during Third Rock. I can't remember anything else before, but there wasn't much before. And this is Jimmy is honestly a very small role. It's in the beginning of the movie and done. Brandon Williams is Tony, Jimmy's buddy. And finally, Nancy Stevens reprising her role from 1 and 2 as Nurse Marion Chambers. Okay, so by and large, the movie seems to retcon out the previous 3 movies, which in fact the upcoming movie is going to do everything but the first one. But anyway, it's a potential thing, and to be perfectly honest, later on down the road, I'm going to do a video kind of going into how H2O and Resurrection can actually still work with 4, 5, and 6. But anyway, movie begins with Marion coming home and her house has been broken into. So she runs next door, gets Jimmy and Tony to check it out, or one, so she can call the cops, and 2, they go to check things out while waiting for the cops, in the longest 15 minutes I've ever seen. But anyways, so they get in there, and Jimmy inspects the house and comes back out and says, yeah, whoever it was, they did a number on your kitchen and also on your office. And where's my office? Why my office? She goes in there, she's looking around, and she finds the file on Laurie Strode, which we find out shortly thereafter that in his waning years, Marion was Dr. Loomis's nurse. So presumably all of his materials were given to her, as it never seemed like he didn't have family. Anyways, of course, while doing her own looking around, Michael shows up. She runs back over to Jimmy's and finds Jimmy and Tony both dead. And then, as the cops are showing up, Michael manages to kill her and stop her from signaling the cops just in time so that he can make his escape. But course, the cops do discover it, and it's decided that a call will be made to Haddonfield, let them know, okay, maybe Michael Myers will make another appearance. Anywho, the next day, we cut to Halloween, as the movie begins on the 2 days before Halloween. Halloween day morning, Northern California, or afternoon, I think. Michael switches cars because he's run out of gas, and but he steals another car and makes his way to the school where Laurie's headmistress at. Now, of course, for the weekend, it turns out that the school is offering a camping trip to Yosemite, and the majority of the students are going. John is hoping he's going to go, and Laurie says, "No, you're totally not going. You want to go camping? I'll take you camping." It's like that kind of ruins the whole idea. So, and you find out that Molly, her father has fights a bit on the financial aid, so she can't go. And then his best friend, I forgot his name already, and Charlie, his best friend, and Sarah, Charlie's girlfriend, they can't go either for various reasons. Charlie forgot to turn in a report, and Sarah faked a fever. So, but at the last minute, Laurie decides, hey, you know what? I'm gonna let John go. I'm gonna grow as a person and let my son actually go, at least on a weekend camping trip. Of course, he's already made plans for the weekend at the school, so he crumples up the permission slip and and is basically even freer now, which is it's kind of cool actually. Makes perfect sense. But anyway, so after the buses leave, a mysterious car shows up at the gate. So Ronnie goes to check it out. While he's doing so, Michael slips by behind him and into the school. And soon thereafter, the phones are cut. The phone lines get cut, presumably by Michael. He does understand a few. He does understand a few things, like, oh, if I cut the phone lines, I'll have a lot more time. And in 1998, yeah, that was actually feasible. Now, oh, you cut the phone lines. Whoopity shit. You know. But anyway, so like he goes in and begins, goes after, he kills Charlie, he kills Sarah, goes after John and Molly, manages to stab John, but not kill him. He stabs him in the leg and not the femoral artery. So anyway, they managed to get away, and barely, because horror movies, you have to just barely get away. But they link up with Laurie and Brennan, and of course, Brennan, being Laurie's romantic interest, has only just now learned the fact that she's actually Laurie Strode and Michael Myers is actually her, and she really is Laurie Strode, and yeah, Michael Myers is really her brother. And he briefly meets Michael when Michael sticks the knife in his back. After Brennan accidentally shot Ronnie, because that's the thing that happens. And of course, Laurie and Michael have their fight. They duke it out, and finally she's gonna go for yet another kill shot and with him, and then Ronnie stops, like, no, he's dead. Don't worry, So the cops show up, and he gets loaded up. He gets loaded into a coroner's van, and Laurie grabs a fire axe, pickpockets the gun off one of the law enforcement officers present. Load him in the van, and she takes the van and she starts driving, and she's constantly watching the bag from the rear view mirror, the body bag in the rear view mirror, and of course he gets up and comes after him, and she manages to knock him out of the vehicle, hit him, and then finally he's stuck between the coroner's van and I think it was a tree branch or or a divider or something. And he reaches for her. She's got the axe in one hand, and she looks at Michael and to reach for, reaches, like brief kind of touch, and then she picks up the axe and off with his frickin' head. And what should have been the conclusion of the franchise. Okay, we're done. Now somebody else can remake this, and yeah. But you know what? You already know. There's another one. But anyway, so like I mentioned, it largely retcons away 4 through 6. I'm not too fond of that, really. Now there is an evidence picture shown in the opening credits of a bloody pair of scissors, which could potentially be the scissors that Jamie used to stab her foster mother at the end of Halloween 4. Because I don't recall Michael ever using a pair of scissors to stab someone. The movie really tries. It tries to harken back to the first movie with it's slow build and okay, we're building up, and yeah, things okay, but every time you're starting to think, okay, we're building up, there's maybe we're starting to get a little bit of tension, we're starting to understand these characters, all right, okay, yeah, you get lulled, oh, jump scare, never mind. Too much. The jump scares just totally ruin it. I mean, in the third act, sure, do jump scares, yeah, when we're already on the edge of our seat because Michael, like, gets to the point where oh crap, I fell off the edge. But yeah, I think with a lot of the jump scares removed, you could actually improve the quality of the movie. The fact that Laurie basically has I'm gonna just take that shot in the dark from as someone who really doesn't know these things, but I would say Laurie has been hardcore PTSD, and which makes sense, and I like the way she has changed as a character from between 2 and this. The movie also relies very heavily on nods to older horror movies. Lines from, including the original Halloween, such as the line, "Everyone's entitled to one good scare on Halloween." That pops up. Janet Leigh in general. I actually did mean to look this up, but Janet Leigh Jamie Lee Curtis's mother, was in Psycho. She's killed in the famous shower scene. It's been a while since I watched Psycho. I can't remember if she may have actually had the name Norma. And I think that the car she drives in the movie is the same car she drove in Psycho. There's also another nod to Psycho wherein Charlie suggests that 20 years from now, John and his mother, John and Laurie will be running a little hotel together in the middle of nowhere. Bates Motel, anyone? But yeah, I wish that it would have actually tried. I mean, don't get me wrong. Nods to previous movies in the series, I can accept that in a sequel. Especially when they're kept, to a minimum. It's like, okay, yeah. Like, the one good scare, like, oh, ha ha. Nice, very good, very good. Or making a reference to, if they'd actually stated the name of John's father. And it said that, if they had stated clearly that, yes, John's father is Jimmy from Halloween 2. I'm still holding. That's what I'm holding on to. Is that Jimmy is the father of Laurie Strode's children. There's nothing to say otherwise. The teenage characters are really stereotypical. I mean, just oh my god. You've got the horny ones. You've got the poor one. You've got the one that's that is basically you got the son of the. It just there's nothing really memorable. Hell, the only reason I really remember John and Molly, and even then, I had to rewatch the damn movie to remember their names. The only reason I remember John and Molly is because they're played by an actor and an actress who've gone on to bigger and better things. I will say this: the adult characters are actually rather interesting, multifaceted. At least the important ones: Laurie, Brennan, Ronnie. LL Cool J actually, it's like, okay, he's the gate guard. He's not the best at his job. He is an aspiring novelist, though he intends to write romance novels, and he basically will read out the stuff he's written to his girlfriend over the phone and get her reaction, kind of decide, okay, what should I keep this or not? Brennan at least has a amusing sense of humor. There's not much to Brennan. He's love interest. He does have his sense of humor works for the one scene for the few scenes where he gets to really pull off some decent jokes. That's actually one thing I did not. Scratch that, because the teenage characters, of course, joke around a lot because teenagers. Finally, as I mentioned, the ending of the movie provides an excellent, definitive end to the series. I said that with Halloween 2, but I mean, hey, well, not to that degree. Like, oh, hey, Michael's on fire. That's technically survivable. Michael's been decapitated. Yeah, that's kind of final. Though, let's be fair, when you get to at this point, well, sixth part in the Michael Myers story, seventh entry in the series, you pretty much need to de-atomize the killer. But yeah, excellent end of the series until, Halloween Resurrection came along. So yeah, that is Halloween Resurrection. And in all honesty, I like it. I think it is one of the better films in the series. At least in, for the Michael Myers story, the first one is the best, hands down. And the second one, in fact, the first and second one are the best two, in my opinion. Followed by probably 4, then this one, then 5, then 6, then Resurrection, way down at the bottom. But that's also not counting the fact that that's also discounting the Blumhouse movie, which hasn't come out yet. So I haven't seen it, and I can't say, Anyways, hopefully we'll be getting to Halloween Resurrection very soon. It looks like my initial plans are, well, yeah, they're going to be pushed aside a bit. I'll still be doing the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, though it looks like I'll be doing them after I review the Blumhouse Halloween. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Tomorrow I'll be doing a review of Bad Day at the El Royale. So anyways, this is Rock and Roll Spock. Oh, yes, as always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for notifications. I think it's up there, down there, there. Oh. But be sure to hit the bell icon so you get notified when I put up new content. And yeah, it's Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.